Hello, this is Armanda. Welcome to my channel. I am making two packing paper junk journals today. Some of this packing paper has rips in it, and I decided that I wanted to salvage it anyway. So I'm going through, and all the ones that are ripped, I'm going to repair them with other paper. I have some tea dyed, and I think this is some of my walnut ink, or maybe the acorn ink. And I have some of my botanicals that I might stick in there. And also some more packing paper that I can add to it. And I'm using a mix of matte gel and matte medium. That's what I use for collage. Where did my... There it is. And I mix those together in this little jar to whatever consistency that you prefer. I like it not quite gel and not quite fluid, so it's somewhere in between, like heavy Elmer's glue. I've already done one. Where did it go? There it is. So this page was ripped, and I just added this in, like that. And I'm going to do the rest of these. These are also some damaged ones. It's not that I don't have enough packing paper, it's just that I like the idea of adding to them. Okay, I didn't have as many ripped pages as I thought I did, so I only ended up using this piece of paper. I liked the way it looked, so I've got this one here that's done. And then just a couple more. Just some of them, just little bits, little corners. It's kind of like making that Franken paper. Anyhow, the next thing I'm going to do might be a little weird. Again, but I have all of these things that I painted that were on it's that old computer paper. What do they call it? Tractor paper or whatever. It's on a continuous roll sprocket, and I actually painted this stuff. I lined it all up and taped it down, and then just painted it. And I want to use it. I'm tired of it hanging out in my studio, so I'm going to use it. And what I'm going to do is glue it onto the edges, like so. And I'm going to use my handy dandy collage medium. Well, if I can find it. There we go. Got that. And this is just one of those plastic cutting boards. They're stuck together. Whee! I'll put the glue on this part. And if it gets on, well, good grief. I'm gonna have to do it again by the time I get it over there. Okay, that might take a little doing. I'm just going to clip that there. I can trim them up better later, but I think if I have that on the end of each page, I think that would look interesting. Excuse me. All right, we're back. I got them all glued down. I used up all of these pieces of paper that I had painted. And what I did when I glued these down is I made sure, whoops, bumped the camera. I made sure that when I glued them down, they were all on the same side, facing the same way, so that when I fold them into signatures, like so, they're going to be at the front. They'll all be on the same side. I had enough to do, let's see, 28, I don't know if you call that a folio or a page or a signature, but there's 28 of them, and what I'm going to do is put two together, so I actually have 14 signatures, and then I'm going to do a tab binding. So right now, these have all been ironed. Oh, and I ironed these where I added on the scrap, which I like how that turned out. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't show very much, but it's just interesting that it's there. It adds a little interest. So what I'm going to do now is fold these all in half, and I have my template here. Oh, yep, there it is, for punching holes. So I'll punch my holes, and then I'm going to do the pamphlet stitch again on all of the 14 signatures. And I'll be back. Again, there's this little spot here that is where the glue is on these things, and you have to kind of work that out before you can get it to fold. And it might wrinkle a little bit. It just adds to the character. Okay, last one. I'm just going to stack signatures together. So, or folios into signatures, just two. And make sure they're both going the same way, because this I think you can do the wrong way. Yes, you can. So there. The right way. It's my opinion, of course. If you want the pretty paper to show, this is the right way. This here, which I really like, it's nice and grungy, but I want to use this as is. I don't want to cover this up or anything. I had another idea for the more plain tea dyeing that I did. These here, they're tea dyed. The others, I'm sorry, this isn't tea dye. This is walnut ink and oak gall ink. And it made really nice, interesting patterns, and I did it on a boot tray. So it left these little marks like treads. Anyhow, so I have here my plain fabric, my plain tea-dyed muslin, and I have silk scraps. Where did they go? Hello, silk scraps. Here they are. I took apart a rug, one of those rugs from India. I got it at Five Below a number of years ago. These scraps, of course, like the packing paper, have been here forever. Hoarding. So I ripped those up and I made tabs. These are my tabs. And I cut them, I just eyeballed it. I didn't really measure it, but if you need to know, it's like, oh, it's about 4 inches. And then I took my pieces of silk that I've torn up, laid them on there like that. Just always looking for things. My desk's a little full. And then I just use these clips. These are really neat. These clips, the sewing clips. And I'm just going to take a handful of these and clip them on and sew them with, this is some variegated embroidery floss. I believe I got it at Walmart. And I'm going to do that. So this is how I'm going to make I thought this was a neat idea. I hadn't seen anybody else do it. I'm sure it's probably been done. But I wanted to stitch something a little more colorful on these. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make these tabs first, and then I'll put together a book with the packing paper. Oh, goodness, I bumped my microphone. That probably sounded awful. I guess they call slow stitching. In my day, we just called it embroidery, and I'm not going to be real fussy about it, because it's kind of it's just a little embellishment, kind of a rough embellishment. I could get control of my needle here. So just a simple knot, embroidery floss, and you just weave it in and out. My needle might be a little big. Apparently, I unthreaded it. Now you can watch a master thread that. Oh my goodness, it worked. Okay, that never happens, especially on camera. So I'm just going to go in and out, not going to be too fussy. I'm going to try to keep it kind of lined up. You don't want to pull it too tight or you'll turn it into a ruffle. As you can see, my piece isn't quite long enough, but that just adds to the charm. I actually don't like that. Just going to cheat and cut it off. And you can see it's not super straight. It's kind of, the stitches are a little bit wonky, but I like that. And if I were going to do it neat, it would just take forever. And it wouldn't nearly be as much fun. This is kind of fun doing this. And you can make a lot of these in a little bit of time once you have them all cut and ripped and ready to go. And there you have it. Then you just gotta tie a knot. I like to wrap mine around twice. So once, and then again, twice through the hole. Just makes a slightly bigger knot. And then I usually stick the needle in like so to kind of guide it to where it's supposed to be. And of course, from on camera, that's not going to work. No, don't like that. Gonna do it again. Obviously, don't do like I do. Do it the right way. Try to get it as close to the fabric as you can. There, that'll work. I mean, you're going to glue these down, so they're not going to go anywhere. All right. I'm just going to make a bunch more of those, and then I'm going to make a journal. And that's it. Well, they're all done now. So I've got my 14 signatures all sewn together with a pamphlet stitch using dental floss that I found at a rummage sale. I assume they were samples that the people had never used because there was a whole bag of them. Or maybe it was a dentist. Who knows? Anyhow, this stuff is great for sewing signatures. It's basically wax thread, which is what you want. And I didn't want heavy stuff for this, so I'm just using the the lighter weight floss instead of waxed cotton or the waxed linen that you would normally use for bookbinding. And I found what I want to use for cover. So this is cereal box that I have covered with vintage looking papers. And I did the back with packing paper. Oh goodness. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to do these double layer, like glue them together. Then I'd have to press them somehow. Or if I'm just going to do a single layer. But this one I did with just a single layer, and I don't, it's kind of flimsy, I think. I might add a layer to that. So, I'm going to cut this at 6. So it's going to be 6 by 5 5/8 is what the finished size is going to be for the cover. And that'll be just enough to be slightly larger than my text block, or my junk journal block, however you want to call it. So, I'm going to do that. I'll mark it, cut it, and then I'll be back. Welcome back to my messy desk, my messy workspace. I have my covers finished, and I'm going to put probably some gold or some copper paint along the edges. And this is actually 2 pieces of cereal box glued together. And I used PVA glue, and then I put it in my book press. And my book press is a homemade thing that I got from Sea Lemon's channel, but if you look up make it yourself, do it yourself book press, I'm sure there's lots of tutorials on how to do that. And this is just collaged over. And what I wanted for my journal size is, I think, see, 6 by 5 5/8, I think is what I've got. Let's do the one that has 5/8 on it. That's not the one that has 5/8. I have 3 rulers that I use regularly. Yeah, so 5 5/8 for this part of it, and then 6 for the wider part. And what I did is I actually cut 2 pieces of cardboard, or my cereal box. I cut them bigger than the actual finished size because in case the edges don't glue down very well, which sometimes they don't, it's just, it seems to glue better towards the middle. I don't know how to explain that, but when I get it out of the book press, I trim the ugly edges off. So I have this at 6 1/2, and then what I'm going to do is using my box cutter and this lovely ruler here. Where's my other mark? Hello? Okay. Apparently I didn't put another mark down. Details. So I'm going to cut that at 6 1/2. Just using the box cutter, like so, or an X-Acto, or just draw a line and cut it with a scissors. Makes no never mind to me. There. Ta-da! So I have one more of these packing paper journals I'm going to make, so I might as well make the cover on camera. So now I'm going to measure 5 5/8 here. Wait, not 5 5/8. Excuse me. Wrong. Wrong, 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 wrong. I want to make it bigger than that. 5 5/8 is the finished size. So I want this to be 6. If that makes sense. Oopsie. So that should be 6 and 6 1/2. And this is going to be the front cover. And these are some of my painted papers or gessoed papers or stamped papers. And I made a collage board with that. And I'm going to back it with thought I cut it. It's a mystery. I'll be back. Found it. It was on the floor. So this is going to be the back of my cover. I'll make 2 of these, but for now I'll just show you how I did one. And this one I actually have collaged some packing paper on the back of it to make it sturdier, or just so that I don't have just plain cardboard. It depends on what I was going to do with it. But you see how warped that is. And it's hard to glue that down. And I'm using PVA glue because that'll kind of saturate. And it's also, you know, bookbinding glue. And yes, this is a hair color bottle. But you know what? These are the most amazing little bottles because they have a little screw top lid and a tiny little spout. So yeah, don't knock it. Apparently hairdressers reuse them. Some hairdressers. I'm sure that your licensed local hairdresser does not reuse these things. I'm sure. But I'm putting glue on both sides because I'm going to kind of over glue it. Hang on. Oh, kick the camera. Excuse me. All right, so I'm going to saturate this with glue. You can probably use Elmer's glue for this, but I prefer the actual Line Co. PVA is what I use. And I buy it by the gallon because I make a lot of books. I do a lot of gluing. And now, real quick, I'm going to put glue on this too, because, oh, come on. I need to refill my bottle. My handy dandy bottle. Okay. I want to get it as far out to the edges. It's good and stuck to the edges. More glue, more glue. Okay. And then we're just going to sandwich those together. And the glue is probably going to ooze out a little bit. What I try to do is work it in just a little, kind of keep, just kind of, because I think the moisture of the glue kind of soaks into the cardboard a little better. Just kind of work that in. Wipe that off. Whoops, put that in there. Put that over there. Okay. Just want to make sure that I've got contact with the glue. And it doesn't matter how you cut it, it's always going to look a little bit crappy, which is why I like to be able to cut it off. So, now what I'm going to do, where is that thing? This is a piece of parchment paper. You can use wax paper. I just stick that in there like so. And this is my DIY book press. It's just a shelf that was flat on one side. I don't remember where it came from, but cut it in half and then drilled holes to fit screws or bolts or whatever you want to call those. I don't know. I don't care. And then it's in there and you just tighten it up. And I left mine overnight and they were nice and flat. Nice and flat. Whoops. Nice and flat when I took them out. And these have been trimmed, so they've got a nice, pretty nice edge to them. Okay. There we go. Alright, this is just my sample cover. I still need to make a second one. But this out of the book press now, and this will be the 6-inch side, and this will be the 5 5/8 inch direction. And I'm going to call this the front. I'm going to do my marking on the back here. So this is going to be 6 inches. I want to cut off a little bit on each side, and I'm just going to eyeball it for this part, and I'll measure the other part. Could be a mistake, but hey, it wouldn't be the first time. And I got lots of cereal boxes. Oh, and what I don't have is my knife. Exacto. Let's move the camera a little bit there. There we go. This blade's probably a little dull. But there, that gives you a nice smooth edge. It's like how many rulers can one person have? Okay, so I'm going to mark that right there. There, make sure that's the, yep, that's the right way. What did I say? Yes, 5 5/8, okay. Okay, so there's my mark. Where's the other mark? There it is. Whee! And cut that. Voila. And then I would trim this down to, see, this is my 6 inches, so this is 5 5/8. And I'd cut off a little bit off of this side and then measure for this side. Doesn't matter which side you measure for, but just so you trim all 4 edges so you get that nice smooth look. And then I'll probably put a little matte medium on that, or some of my collage medium, just to kind of I don't know, make it tougher. But see how icky this is? It's kind of rough and uneven. Once you cut that, it'll be nice. And then paint the edges, or not. But I do put a little matte medium on them just to protect them. So, there you go. That's how I made the covers. I made 2 of those. This is only one. Obviously. Also, you can use a sanding block or an emery board or just a little piece of sandpaper and just kind of smooth those edges a little bit. And then put the matte medium on, or your paint, or whatever else. It just gives it a nicer, cleans up some of them little Klingons. And if you're into distressing edges, you can do that too. There. Okay, I'm ready to paint the edges of the cover. And I have this stuff, Precious Metals Premium Leafing Finish in copper. And I like these paints. They've lasted a good long time. And then I use these things, the disposable micro applicators, which a friend gave to me. And they are awesome for doing little tiny things like the edges of stuff. So I don't know if copper is what I want, but we're going to give it a try. If I don't like it, I'll just paint over it. So, I ended up going with the bronze color. It's a little more, it's got a little more gold to it. Not quite as coppery, but still a little coppery, if that makes sense. And now the lid won't go on. So, this is the color that I went for. Probably too small to see. But I think it goes better with the metallics that I used in the paper here. Oops. And these scraps. So, now I'm ready to start putting it together. I have determined that this will be my back cover. And I'm going to start from the back. Let's see if this works. And this is just fabric tack that I put in a different bottle because this bottle lid broke. So I've got it covered with glue to seal it, and then I just pour it into a smaller bottle. This time I didn't sew any silk scraps on. I just did the stitching with some variegated embroidery floss. Now let's see if I can do this right. Okay, so now you got to do the 2. Line that up. Yeah. And this time you line up 3. It can be a little bit confusing until you get used to this, and then it's pretty easy and it's cool. And I think I figured it right, that you double the amount. Let's see, I have 14 signatures counting my covers, which means I need 28 tabs plus 3, no, 14 and 14 is 28. I have 16, so 16 and 16 is 32. I can do math. So I need 32 plus 3 tabs, I think, which equals 35. So I did 35. I might have to do more. I don't know. Or maybe I did too many. We'll find out. Ooh, a little bit slippery. Glue boogers. Yeah. I'm on the last signature now, which means you kind of have to plan for what you want to show on the cover. This will be your last 3 tabs. And my mathematical equation did not work, so the whole 2 times every signature plus 3, whatever, that was absolute rubbish. I'm sure there's probably a formula for figuring it out, but I am not that person. So there it is. I'll probably put this in the book press overnight just to keep it from getting warped from the glue. But there it is. All done. There's the extra tab that I couldn't find. All right. Welcome back to my messy desk. The journal is done. Made with packing paper and walnut stained muslin and painted scraps. So here's just a quick flip through. I'm calling this the front. Well, it has to be the front because all the pretty paper is on that side. I mean, if you like the boring stuff, I guess that's okay. Whatever floats your boat. So, I have 2 layers of cardboard. Oops, excuse me. Oh, that's a little stuck there. So there's 2 layers of cereal box here that are glued together, and then they were put in a book press. I got my, that seems a little loose. Guess I'll have to fix that. My muslin strips here that were walnut ink dyed, and then I just stitched around them with some variegated embroidered floss. I have my repaired ripped pieces here. Just a few of those. Find the signature here. There we go. That one was kind of a big repair. This is walnut. No, this is acorn ink, I believe, that I was playing with on some tea-dyed paper. There's the middle of that, middle of that. There's 14, I believe 14 signatures. I don't know what I'm going to do with this book, but it's pretty. I like it. There's lots of nice metallic detail in this trim. More repaired spots. And that's probably enough. I used dental floss to sew it with a pamphlet stitch, so there's your 3 holes there. Pamphlet stitch with the knot on the inside. Another big repair. Smaller repair. There. The end. Might be neat for collage or just like a simple something glued in there on each page. I don't know. Whatever works. And we're going to sturdy that up a little bit. Need some more glue in there, I think. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching.